Hello, we are here to talk about something very important to me. I talk about it all the time. If you are a newer fan, if you're a casual fan, if you're a hardcore fan, if you're an older fan, just like myself, I'm 33 years old. My timeline is usually a little skewed, but I remember being in my room and I remember watching the Katie Vick stuff. And I also remember because I thought it was like the most fucked up thing. I was like 8 years old, I think. It was when Big Boss Man was dragging Big Show's deceased father's casket all around the funeral. Like, I was watching all this as a young girl. So I started watching wrestling before I was 12 years old. But at 12, I could remember vividly just looking at the screen. I saw Eddie Guerrero. I saw Lita. And I was like, this is so freaking cool. I'm not here to complain. I mean, we had JBL at the border, okay? But I could find humor in it. And I think that's the best part of professional wrestling because it's supposed to be silly, but it's also supposed to tug on your emotions. You're supposed to root for the hero. You're supposed to boo the bad guy. But if you're kind of like me, you might root for the heels more than you root for the good guy. That's not because you like bad boys. No, it's really because whoever portrays their character the best, that's usually who I intend to root for. And I think a lot of adults are the same way because we just find an appreciation towards someone that can really do a character. I was a huge fan of Stardust. I was the only huge fan of Stardust, but I appreciated the amount of work that Cody Rhodes put behind that character. I was like, dude, this man is getting booed. He's not getting over. Yeah, he's still here like, and doing the little freaking cartwheels and shit. That entire backstory was to get here. I was watching WWE primarily. I wasn't watching WCW live. If you don't know, Kurt Angle is my damn goat. Kurt Angle is the reason why I am who I am. So when he jumped ship to TNA in 2006, that is when I found out about TNA. I sort of saw the commercials, but I didn't really care about it because Kurt Angle wasn't a part of it. And I understand the sort of narrative as a WWE fan. There are fans that found New Japan first and then became fans of WWE or just didn't and just stuck to New Japan. And I really want to know that kind of experience, but I started watching WWE first. I thought it was the only wrestling that mattered. I frankly thought that it was the only wrestling that existed. Sure, I saw TNA commercials, but I didn't care. Everybody that I liked was a part of WWE, so why would I care? Until Kurt Angle left, joined TNA, and I was like, scar! I was like, well, is that commercial gonna pop up? Because I gotta find a way to watch TNA because Kurt Angle's in TNA. Like, I gotta watch it now. So because of that one person, this was in 2006. So also at that time, I believe ECW started as well. Because I remember during that time, I would be seeing TNA and ECW commercials. ECW though, always drew my attention because I was like, damn, it is like Extreme Championship Wrestling. And I'm already into freaking chair shots and we want table crap. I was young, I didn't know any better. I did not understand CTE and how wrestlers should just be safe instead of putting their bodies in the line. I was young, I did not know any better. But as soon as I saw TNA, I remember thinking, okay, this is a little low budget. This is different. These are all wrestlers that I've never seen before. I feel like they're trying too hard. I was very critical the first time I watched it. Then I saw a match and I was like, I never looked away from my TV screen. I can't remember the match. I can't remember who was a part of that, but I remember my transition into enjoying and appreciating wrestling outside of WWE. And the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, that wasn't like an 8, 9, 10-minute match. I can't tell you how long it lasted, but I can tell you that it was a lot longer than that. I can also tell you that there was intensity and passion, and I wish I could pinpoint that match for you. I just can't. I remember just being so hyper focused on when is Kurt Angle coming out, and then within me just waiting for Kurt Angle, I got to know who Samoa Joe was. I got to know who AJ Styles was. I knew who Sting was because he was such a profound name that I knew who he was, but I had never seen him wrestle before. And then I saw him wrestle and I was like, this is cool. Like, I know why I hear about you now. Every misconception that I ever had about TNA just went out the window after that first episode that I saw, especially when I saw that Kurt Angle was different. He was different and he felt just more like himself. Not that he wasn't himself in WWE. Like, I can just tell that he was more well rested, that he was more ready for his character work, that he was more ready in ring wise, because maybe this company was giving him something that the other company wasn't. If you are a newer WWE fan and you got exposed to AEW and you watched it for the first time and you were instantly hooked, and then you talked about it on the internet, I thought that that conversation was probably going to be good. Instead, it was full of negativity of, why are you watching that trash? Don't waste your time. Or you got, I guess, toxic positivity, which is good. Time to watch some real wrestling and WWE. There's so many sides to professional wrestling and I hate it. And this is coming from someone who didn't know any better. And this was when the internet wasn't even a thing. I'm 33, I'm fucking old. Now with the internet, it's 10 times worse than that. And I feel so bad for new fans, but it's so refreshing to see new fans that started watching WWE, then they gave AEW a shot, and now they're fans of both. I can't explain that to you. I can explain what TNA was to me, but I'll go ahead and let my buddy D Porticus tell you guys about it.
So for me, pro wrestling has been this thing that has kind of helped be this gateway to finding out that I'm actually not as much of an introvert as I always thought I was. And I think through the pandemic and the years leading up to it, I kind of thought I really wanted to just stay in my own shell, and I got kind of tired of going out and just being around people all the time. But it turns out I was just not hanging out with, people that I really vibed with, I guess. But pro wrestling, as much hate as the IWC gets, there's a lot of good in that community, whether it be on the creator side or just, a typical fan who partakes in discussions on internet wrestling. And in general, those people can actually be really, really good people with very good intentions, and that can be very welcoming to somebody who is newer to the shows and newer to all of pro wrestling in general. You don't hear a lot of the people that you hear in the IWC. You don't come across nearly as much of that general just spewing of hate trying to get a reaction. So, and to speak to that as well, AEW has been a really great thing to transition into after starting in WWE because of how affordable it has been. And AEW not costing an arm and a leg to go to a typical show or even a pay-per-view. The most that I've gotten out of pro wrestling is the people, the events, and going to indie shows. Check out your local indie show. Subscribe to Mini.
And that's the reason why I'm making this video, because it should be more community based. It should be like, hey, I disagree with you or I agree with you. And I fall into the category of being toxic sometimes, because if I see some slander or if I see some toxicity on my channel, I respond with slander and toxicity. And maybe that's not the best route, but it gets extremely frustrating when there's so many people trying to deter people from just enjoying professional wrestling. We're not even just talking about WWE. We're talking about professional wrestling in general. If you just want to watch WWE, please just watch WWE. We are not stopping you from just watching WWE. But there is a beauty in seeing their growth. You just feel so proud. You feel like a proud parent. You're just like, dude, I saw you at an indie show that I paid $20 for. And then I saw you make your AEW debut. And then, holy shit, now you're in WWE. Like, I saw your entire progression of your career. And that's not me saying that AEW is a stepping stone for WWE, because I also think that's kind of a problem in the industry right now. Spoiler alert, I am not talking about Mariah May. I think she was very respectful with saying, these are my dreams. We all knew that they were her dreams. That's probably why she got a 2-year contract, and now she's in WWE. This weekend is so important. We have AEW All In. AEW All In is essentially their WrestleMania. And boy, does it feel like it, because you remember those emotions that you had for WrestleMania 39, and whether you were Team Roman or Team Cody, I think the majority of us thought that Cody Rhodes was going to walk out of there as champion. And he didn't. And that was disappointing. And I was so shocked, because I was like, who's going to dethrone Roman Reigns? And then at WrestleMania 40, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns yet again. And we saw the beautiful climax of that. It was Endgame. We brought out Undertaker. We brought out John Cena. We had Solo. We had the Uso brothers. It was a whole spectacle just to take down Roman Reigns. Do you remember the emotions you had when that happened? Do you remember the emotional roller coaster that you went through before WrestleMania 39, but also after WrestleMania 39, because you felt like, well, what is happening? And then The Rock wants to interject, and you're just like, listen, The Rock versus Roman should have been a Hollywood match. Right now, mind your business, dog. Remove yourself, because you do not fit in the equation anymore. We were loud, we made noise, and then we got Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. And that has to be arguably one of the greatest endings to a WrestleMania, to a story. That is what All In is right now. We have been heavily disappointed by the Death Riders because they have the AEW championship. Jon Moxley is currently the AEW champion. If you didn't know, I don't blame you. And you know why I don't blame you? Because he keeps it on a damn briefcase. And sometimes he doesn't even bring out the briefcase. We haven't seen this thing, this beautiful belt, in such a long damn time. He is keeping it hostage. He hasn't done anything to improve AEW. You have to understand the magnitude of this story and why, unfortunately, even though I highly disagree with it and I hate it, Jon Moxley keeping this belt hostage and being champion and winning and winning and winning, even though we want him to lose because he's not doing anything and not showing the belt. There is some nefarious kind of brilliance behind it, but also when it comes to AEW viewership, if you got Mox, I would assume you just turn off your TV. But unfortunately, Mox gets views. A lot of us, as much as we hate it, as much as we complain about it, it's essentially WrestleMania 39 leading to WrestleMania 40 again. And I know a bunch of you guys are going to be like, yeah, see, AEW doesn't have an original thought. AEW has to copy WWE. No, it's literally the premise of taking down the bad guy. That's literally the story of movies and books, okay? I am only using this comparison because the comparison freaking fits. We have a bad guy who has been crowned for so long, and we got the good guy that wants to take over the crown because they're going to do good for the people. That's literally not created by the WWE, okay? So I'm going to continue to say that this is horrible and bad, but my emotions are the same as going into WrestleMania 39, more so the same as going into WrestleMania 40, because right now I'm just thinking Adam Page has to win. If Adam Page doesn't win and Jon Moxley retains, then what are we doing here? And yes, I know maybe Darby Allin wins the Casino Gauntlet and then cashes in, and at that point it's even more of a disappointment, maybe just for me, but I feel like I rode with your story this entire time and you never pivoted from the story, but yet you're going to go with the same outcome that we all kind of figured. Yeah, I'm going to be pissed. It's either make it or break it. And sometimes people think if a story doesn't go well, that means it's break it. WrestleMania 39, I thought Cody was going to win. It was a make it or break it moment. And for me, it was a break it moment. I was like, wait, what? Cody Rhodes did not win? But guess what? WrestleMania 40 happened. And it was one of the greatest endings in professional wrestling. So I understand the aspect of waiting. I understand that. Do I want to wait? No. I just want to see Adam Page win. That was also just me tackling on Moxley versus Adam Page. We also got Timeless Tony versus Mercedes Moné. We also got the Young Bucks, EVPs, our founding fathers versus Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland. There are very important storylines that are attached to so many of these matches, but that was me trying to find a way to compare it towards WWE. Here's more of a detailed explanation as to why AEW stories are so important right now.
All In is so big for storytelling this year because they have built so many stories that are incredibly layered going into the show. And they have a lot of really intricate, complex, like multi-dimensional characters being highlighted as well. It's all encompassing of like past friendships, past feuds, new feuds. A lot of it includes the history of like where these wrestlers were before AEW, no matter where that is. And it's all culminating into big career-changing moments that are going to move AEW into their next chapter.
Thank you to Marissa for articulating that for me. And she usually roots for the opposite of people that I'm rooting for, but her and I get along just great because at the end of the day, it's the love of the game for professional wrestling. You can like who you like, you can dislike who you like, as long as you're being respectful and you're not being a weird internet person that's going to wish somebody harm, or you're going to try to dox them, or you're going to try to find a way to talk about them in a bad way instead of just talking about their characters. You actually hit and pinpoint them as a human being, as a person, as if they don't have feelings, as if you're not a fan of professional wrestling, when at the end of the day, we all got into this because of wrestlers. Yet so many of you guys disrespect them. And I understand if they end up being terrible people. Valvinus, Hulk Hogan, ugh. And if I haven't been clear, Val Venus and Hulk Hogan are terrible human beings. So if you attack them as a person, I understand that. You're attacking people like Charlotte Flair, like Nia Jax, like Mercedes Moné, like Ricochet. Dude, they're playing characters on TV. You don't know them as an actual person. Leave them alone. They're human beings. There's no reason for so much damn hate in the IWC. And unfortunately, the internet has made a lot of these faceless accounts so boldish, even though they're not bold enough to use their actual name or their actual face because they know what they're saying isn't actually something that they want to have on their resume. So they hide behind a fake profile picture or an anime profile picture or no profile picture. They hide behind a username. They hide behind an alt account because they know what they're saying isn't something that they actually want the people that know them to know, that deep down inside they're hateful. Because there's always going to be hate against something that people just don't understand or want to know. Everyone has a right to their opinion, but sometimes their opinion is shit. Indie promotions, indie talent, they matter. The best person to explain to you why indie talent is important is, of course, Johnny.
No matter if your favorite wrestler is in WWE, AEW, TNA, New Japan, more than likely they came from the indies. And that's how they molded themselves to become the pay-per-view main eventer that they are today. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, indie legends, Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre left the WWE, went on the indies, and completely changed the trajectory of their career. And if you look at AEW, Hangman Adam Page, Jon Moxley, Tony Storm, all came from the indies. The indies is where your next favorite wrestler currently is, so why not support them at the very beginning? Why not get to see the entire journey of their career? I can tell you right now, I feel very confident that the likes of Mao, men like Darius, Sozaya, Rio, Lena Cross, they're going to be main eventing pay-per-views one day. Indies, you get to see the wrestlers and their story from the very beginning.
I purposely asked Deporticus, Marissa, and Johnny to be a part of this video. And when I say this, I'm not trying to exclude anyone, but from like my friend group, those are the other three that I know for sure stream every single WWE and AEW pay-per-view, PLE, and event every single week. And I feel like we're in this together. Make sure to follow them on all of their social medias. Until next time, bye!